I'm not wearing hockey and that's the bottom line.
Welcome everybody to the first ever action-packed Laugh Till You Lose Your Keys episode. It's Sunday, January 20th, 2013. My name is Matt Kalka, otherwise known as Matt Classic, unless Colt Cabana's around. With me is the Shanghai smuggler himself, Clay Reprogel. Mr. 8-Bit Chris Curran is to his right, and over on the soundboard is Frank Van Meter. Say hello to the podcast world, gentlemen.
Hello.
What's up?
So, wow, we finally made it here. We finally got our own podcast.
Yeah, doing it. Getting it done.
So, I mean, how did this even come all together?
Special ran a couple weeks ago.
Well, yeah, I mean, me and you, Clay, we were just talking a couple days ago, and then next thing you know, you started going on a rant out of nowhere, and I was just like, oh man, I should be recording this. This would be awesome to put up online. And then I was just like, maybe we should do a podcast. And then we talked to, then you talked to, Matt and Curran, and they were like, oh, thinking about this forever. And so, I mean, here we are today.
Finally, you guys coming in and saying you wanted to do one. Just worked out.
Yeah, and Frank, you've got the production skills that are needed to make this all happen. So
Yep. I guess it
toot your horn a
comes
little
just
bit
from
there.
my toot. Just from previous experiences with stuff like this. So yeah. So I mean, what are we gonna get into today?
Basically, going over the things throughout the week: news, topics, movies, comics, video games, what have you. Let's start off with movies.
Yeah, let's start off with movies then. So
Well,
what do we got on the list?
The
for
one movie
movies?
that's caught my eye is Evil Dead. With that trailer, that made me I just put my iPad down as soon as I watched it. I think
That
I'm
Red
getting
Band
someone
trailer
else to go
was
up.
crazy.
Well,
Yeah, I haven't actually been creeped out by a movie trailer in a long time.
yeah,
way
not
that
a
one
trailer.
did.
I mean, usually horror movies, I quote horror, I just turn away from them these days because what's the last good horror movie? And I don't know.
Yeah, it's become a joke. It really has.
It's a joke or a remake, But there's special occasions like Dawn of the Dead. I'll say that's a special occasion, maybe. The Ring, I'll call The Ring a special occasion. But this one, the main thing that caught my eye and ear is no CGI whatsoever. That's like unheard of in any love story, horror movie, any movie these days. Everything has CGI, but not
Exactly.
this, allegedly.
I mean, name a movie today that doesn't have CGI? I mean, you really can't. So,
And not to even say that it's bad that they use CGI, but I feel like movies today overuse CGI.
Well, I think so too. I'll get into Walking Dead using CGI gunshot, wounds. I mean, if
Exactly.
they
A
can do it
squib
in
costs nothing
1978,
for them.
yeah, if they can do it in 1978, they can do it today. I know it costs less to do CGI, I guess, or whatever, but it just makes it feel more special when you're actually watching it happen. Like The Exorcist. That's like the base for all horror movies, in my opinion.
like, speaking of that, back to the Evil Dead trailer. When you told me about that, Clay, you sent me the link to the Red Band trailer and all that, and I watched it, and I was like, this isn't that bad. And then in the end, she takes that razor blade and she just starts slicing her tongue right in the middle, and then all of a sudden just makes out with the other girl. I was like, oh my god, I almost threw up everywhere. I was like, that's insane.
It was the throwing up that did it for me. That throwing up in the pea soup, any kind of throw up does it for me.
Popping up from a trap door from the basement.
Oh yeah.
We're
all fans. We're all fans of the original Evil Dead. So to see the little, trinkets in there, here and there, like if they say it's not a total remake, it's like a reimagining. There's no ash in it, which is, I think, a good thing if they're going to separate themselves from the original,
Right, because no one is going to be Bruce Campbell.
Right, you can't copy. That's like trying to do a Joker here, just like 5 years after The Dark Knight. You're not going to be able to do it for a while. There's only one Bruce Campbell.
And he does have his hand in it.
Yes, in his hand, in the chainsaw hand.
So.
Well, aside from Evil Dead, that's the only real horror movie that's caught my eye in the past couple months. I'm more excited for Iron Man 3. That's going to be coming out in what is it, May? I think May 3rd, May 5th.
May 3rd, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Wolverine coming out in June, and he got Superman coming out in July.
Now, I'm really, like, Superman has always been a hard pill to swallow for me, kind of like Captain America, but I think they pulled Captain America off well. Superman being an alien, you know, that whole story is just too much to fill. It's too much to tell in one movie, in my opinion.
Exactly.
And that's why I think that Superman Returns was kind of a letdown for me, at least. In, what was it, 03, 04, whatever that was, with Brandon Routh. Like, that kind of, it was like a sequel, I guess you could say, to the first two movies. I think that's what they called it. But this one, directed by Zack Snyder, is looking like it's going to take Superman where he needs to be, you know? As far as
if we've learned anything from superhero movies over the past couple years, you know there's going to be 2 or 3 probably made.
Yeah, exactly. And the big question is, unfortunately, it's going to get like the Avengers / Iron Man treatment where people are going to be looking for some kind of tie-in to this Justice League that they're chatting about. You know, I don't know if there's going to be a tie-in or what. I would hope so, considering Superman probably would be the best way to start off your DC franchise, you know?
Exactly.
Like, if you're going
to do it the way Marvel did it, that would be the way to start.
That would be one of your biggest characters. I mean,
it would be. The only shaky thing is with so many, they have so many other big characters that have to be introduced to get a Justice League movie, you know, off the ground. I heard that they were going to start with just Superman, a rebooted Batman, and Green Lantern, which better not be Ryan Reynolds. And that's all I'm saying.
Wonder Woman 2015.
Wonder Woman, they're going to try and do that TV show again, I heard. That didn't really take off. What was it, like a year and a half, 2 years ago they tried that?
Yeah, something like that.
Didn't even get bought.
I think it's too far out of the minds of anybody who's going to be a moviegoer or anything like that. It's just there hasn't been enough exposure for the younger crowd today to characters like that for them to latch onto. They only know the big ones, the Batmans and the Supermans, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And
small
DC,
character.
Yeah, DC Comics is more of like a, I don't know, a classic. You know, it's more. It's definitely campy like Marvel, but there's something more. I don't know. I'm gonna say realistic to DC as opposed to Marvel. You know, it's kind of like wrestling in the '80s compared to wrestling now. You know.
Yeah. Well, look at movies. Look at Iron Man as compared to the Batman. How much darker Batman was as compared to Iron Man.
Right. Well, yeah.
Best example I can put out there.
I wanted to hop back to Iron Man 3, actually, you know, that I got started with. Everyone's seen the trailer for it, obviously. Now, I never really followed the comic too much on it, but the thing that got me was that the suits end up more or less in their own control or something like that, because
Well,
so I don't know if that ties into the comic at all.
I'm gonna say it's based off kind of like the Armor Wars, where Stark had to fight off other people using his technology against him, and I know from the cast listing, Eric Savin is in it, which is Cold Blood 7, and what's the other guy? Something Taggart. He's Firepower. So, and then they have what I think I read was War Machine, only he's in the Iron Patriot suit, which is, everyone's going to, complain about that because Iron Patriot's definitely Norman Osborn, in the Dark Avengers comic, line. I think it's more of like a paying homage to that, kind of like a little fanboy, how do you do, just throw the Iron Patriot in there. And then somehow they're going to have to tie Mandarin into that, And I assume that's going to go back to the first movie, from the, the Ten Rings terrorist group that originally took Stark hostage. Like Mandarin is a part of that. Now, Kern, you brought up Wolverine, which I think looks, from just the few shots we've seen, I mean, it looks cool, but Wolverine Origins also look good from still shots. I got excited seeing Gambit a little, only to be let down completely.
Yeah, they definitely screwed the pooch with that movie.
That pooch was screwed all over the place. The Blob, get out of here.
Don't even get me started on Deadpool.
That's not even Deadpool. I don't know what that was. Goddamn Ryan Reynolds, you need to stop ruining our favorite superheroes' lives. Now,
I don't
all of them at this point.
Well, the one thing about this Wolverine, it has a lot riding on it. Coming off. I guess it's a sequel to everything because it takes place after every XMen movie that's come out so far. Now they've already went ahead and announced Days of Future Past, which is coming out the following summer, which is, like, to me, starting to overshadow this next Wolverine movie just because of, this is looking like it's going to be an X-Men blockbuster with the first class cast and then the original cast all coming together in one movie.
Well, hopefully what I'm hope they get at is that they learned their lesson from the last film and how nobody liked it. It got poor reviews. The critics hated it. Coming into this new one, they're ignoring the fact that Origins even existed. They're just scrapping that movie completely.
So
and
am I.
Following.
Yeah, I've already done that.
It's taking place following the third movie, the
Right.
X3. So hopefully, they figured out, and they're going up against a lot too. That's the other thing. When the X-Men movies first came out, there really wasn't a whole lot in the market at that time.
Well, that's about what started it.
No, yeah,
Right.
X-Men 1 started the whole, the realism that Bryan Singer brought to the original X-Men is what started the last, what it came out in 2000, was it?
2000.
I guess we're going to say 12 years of superhero movies it could be said that movie started it all because of the realism, that it brought to, moviegoers, because they're used to seeing some campy spandex, you know what I'm saying? You go to see the Flash. You look at the Flash TV series, you see a guy in a red, he looks like a red Christmas tree. Like, it looked ridiculous. And then they had a Superman movie, and what was the last Superman movie before that? The Quest for Peace, I think it was. Like, so X-Men coming out and showing these characters in almost a way that we could see it happening in the real world. That's definitely what gave the superhero movie genre the boost that it needed, to get us where we are today.
Yeah, it was very believable in a way.
Well, that makes it watchable for everybody, I think.
Yeah, right.
You were also talking about, like producers and all that, and directors and all that, taking what they've done in the past and, learning from it and stuff like that. The thing that mainly got us, on the whole rant last week that made us start doing this whole podcast thing was what me and Clay were talking about, the whole Resident Evil series.
Man, those movies, dude, those movies. I'll tell you, me, Matt, Kern, we've always been Resident Evil fans. The game, the toys, the socks, underwear, whatever the hell everything, all of it. I remember when Nemesis came out on PS1. I remember we were in my basement a couple days after Christmas getting chased around by Nemesis, screaming like women, just having a blast, because it was a fun game. So, let's see, what was after that? Code Veronica, I believe it was?
Yeah.
So the movie gets announced, and first, George Romero was supposed to be behind that movie. Damn them for taking him off, because I would like to see where the movie franchise would be if he was still behind the camera. Maybe then we wouldn't have Survival of the Dead.
And why didn't they use him again? It was something that he had too many zombies in the movie or something?
Yeah, too many zombies in the
what are you talking about?
Resident Evil movie.
What do you expect to get from George Romero? You put George Romero behind the camera of a Resident Evil movie, there better be zombies pouring out the ass. I don't understand what that is.
That's my gripe with where Resident Evil movies have gone.
My main gripe with this movie series is that Alice is the main character. That's my main gripe. I've always said that Chris Redfield should be the main character of these movies. And if it's not, then it should be Leon Kennedy, And supporting characters should be Barry Burton, friggin' Ada Wong. They shouldn't have to wait until the fifth movie to show up as characters, Like,
correct.
Barry Burton could have been a guy named Ed, and it would have had the same effect on me watching the movie. Instead, I get what's his name, the Kimi from Lost, with a dumb beard and a vest, and he gets killed like 2/3 of the way through the movie. Like, I don't understand that. I don't understand. Like, it just seems like what was that other movie that came out, Ultraviolet, with Mila Jovovich? Like that looked like it could have been Resident Evil 3.5. Because it was her behind, in front of a green screen, flying around shooting lasers out of her ass. And that's much what Resident Evil is today. I've almost defended these movies because they're not bad movies per se. It's just they shouldn't be called Resident Evil. That's my thing. I mean, if it didn't have if it didn't have the T-virus, Nemesis, then it just wouldn't be Resident Evil. You wouldn't.
Well, if you've never played the game or anything like that, if you've never ever played Resident Evil and you hop on to watch the movies, okay, they're good movies because you don't know what's actually, what's going. Right, you're not basing it off anything. That's what I'm trying to say. And for everyone that's played the Resident Evil games and then you see the movies, you're just like, what the fuck?
I take it back to it's the Halloween 3 syndrome where if that didn't have the Halloween tag, it's a great movie as Season of the Witch.
Right, absolutely.
But you put Halloween into it, people are expecting Michael Myers. You didn't give them that. And they were kind of like, well, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
That movie felt like Michael Myers should walk out of a closet at any... Well, not a closet.
Now, Clay, I'm going to go off this and bring up the Resident Evil 6 video game.
Oh, God.
Yes, you might as well.
Now, we have been trying to beat this game for how long now?
Well, let me just say, it's not that we've been trying to beat this game, it's that we haven't wanted to play this game.
That's true. Trying makes it seem like it's too hard. Like, I can't bring up the will to be like, hey, let's do another level.
Yeah.
It is just unbearable.
It takes 2 hours to do.
The controls, the gameplay, the storytelling, everything about this game is wrong.
It's like the people that made the movies made this game.
Yes.
Because this game, while Resident Evil 5 felt like Resident Evil while in my hands, it felt like Resident Evil. Like the atmosphere of that game.
The story was different.
The story was just not there.
No.
So they say Resident Evil 6 is coming out, and it's, you got zombies, and you got different chapters, and all the characters are in there. But I'm playing it, and every time I'm running, I have to suddenly hit A, or I'm grabbed from behind, and I have to twirl the stick, and, flip the controller, and do a handstand. I have to do all this shit just to get out of a, zombie's grasp. That's not survival horror. Like, I remember Resident Evil being me walking around with 7 bullets, getting chased by 3 zombies and a dog, just trying to get to the door so I'm safe. Whereas this is just Gears of War with Resident Evil surroundings,
Exactly. And it's just not fun.
But you have to admit, though, at least this game turned out a hell of a lot better than Raccoon City. I don't even want to toot anyone's horn with that one.
That's not. I hate you for bringing that game up.
I knew it was going to happen. I mean, we got that game. We got Raccoon City, and we thought it was going to be absolutely the shit. We thought it was going to be fun as hell.
No.
God, what a mockery of a game.
It was a demo. Wrong. That damn thing was a demo, it felt like. The ending was a demo. The end was, by God, the worst thing. If I remember, you could beat it 2 different ways.
Right, and you could choose your ending.
Yes, and I didn't even feel the need to go try to beat it the other way.
Well, didn't you beat it the other way? I thought you said you beat it the other. I thought someone said that they beat it the other way, and it said that it was ended. The ending was exactly the same.
Well, here's what doesn't make sense about that. You play as a team of 4 the whole game, and when we were playing it, we were pursuing Leon as a target, and finally you get to him, you run through that little train station and all that crap, and you get to him, and suddenly your team splits into 2, and they're fighting against each other. And if I can't remember if there was an explanation for that, or if it just happened, because I don't know, I was confused, getting shot by my teammates, wondering what the hell I'm doing right now. Then right. I guess when you go the other way, you either you protect Leon or you fight Leon, but either way, it's the same. And either way, I don't care. That game was horrible, and it got traded in. I felt like trading that thing in for Big Bob's Bass Fishing, or whatever the frig that game is.
I'll say that's one time that GameFly was completely worth it. Because they sent me that game on release day. I got it in, played it with you guys, and I sent it right back. I didn't even beat it.
I should have buried that. I shouldn't even have traded it in. I should have buried it. I think it gave me 30 cents for that shit. And an evil look.
Someone else the chance to buy that.
I would have been happy if they didn't even, give me a dime for it. Just get it out of my.
Just take it.
Just take it. Get it out of my collection. I don't even want it.
Take it. I feel like Poltergeist while it's in my house.
I think we can all agree it's still better than War Z.
War Z, you beauty, you.
I had to bring it up.
You fuck. Like, War Z.
Well, I mean, first off, what is it based off of? War Z in general. It was based off of.
I think it's DayZ.
Yeah. All right, and then. Clay, go ahead. I don't even want to get into it. I mean.
Well, a lot of people know what War Z is because I was following it, leading up to its release. I was excited about it, but I knew I wasn't going to buy it when it came out because I just had a feeling about that game. IT guy at my work was all about it. I'm talking, he came in playing the trumpet, holding up a War Z flag, like, oh, this game's going to be the shit. I can't wait to play it. My life is over. Now, I'm surprised his life didn't end when he paid $50 for this game because he definitely did. And anyone that hasn't seen videos about this game should know that if you like to get into a game, you spawn in a game and you walk around nature, and you look at trees and sometimes there's a zombie near you, that's the game for you because you definitely can walk around nature in that game. Like, and I'm talking, you'll walk around for a while.
Right.
Now,
we watched that.
What's that?
We watched that trailer, or not the trailer, but that review of some guy over in Europe, I guess it is, reviewing War Z.
Yes. And
it starts off okay. He spawns and all that stuff, creates a character, spawns up, starts running around. He's sliding down a hill, and he's like, the hill's like, I don't know, like a mole. I mean, it's not even a hill, and he's losing health, falling all the way down this hill.
Yes.
He drops a foot down and loses a quarter health on it.
Yeah.
Right off.
And then he ends up getting, into all this, like, fight with all these zombies, and he dies. He goes to respawn. You can't respawn. You have to make a new character because you can't play that character again for, 59 minutes, so an hour?
Yep.
Fucking hour you have to wait before you can replay that character. I think you had 4 slots. So if you and die within the first 10 minutes each time,
you're done.
And here's the kicker. You're spending real money to get guns for only your one character that you now can't use for an hour in a game that I paid $50 for.
Not just $50. No, not just $50. You have to spend money. You have to spend extra money, so microtransactions. Right.
Then I put 50 more in, and I can't play the game.
Hey, look, I don't know about you guys, but I work for my money, okay? And if I want a spike bat in the War Z, I'm going to work my ass off just to get that bat. I don't care if I can only use it for 30 seconds before I get killed by a zombie that I can't see. I'm working hard for that bat. And also an iron.
But then are you willing to wait a whole hour to play with that bat again?
Yeah, that was total sarcasm. Like, having to pay for a game and then use your own money to buy weapons in that game is completely asinine. Like, microtransactions are for free-to-play games, That's still a ripoff.
But, yes, the game itself was free. If you want to put money into it, you can, but most of the time you don't have to.
And
they were saying that you couldn't find anything in the game without spending the money to actually get something. You start off with a flashlight. Like, he spawns in there one time, and there's no one around him, but all of a sudden there's just this backpack that's standing there, but it's a guy. You can't see the rest of him, and he clubs him to death with his flashlight.
Then
the other guy who clubs
after he's dead.
Finally,
yeah,
dead already. Nah. I mean, that game is definitely. I mean, it's not even a beta. It's definitely an alpha.
That thing
Right.
version
It's
of
an
alpha.
And they
alpha.
out there and charge $50 for it.
Well,
Yeah,
moving on.
like
to,
someone-
But look, you can't hate on DayZ though, because DayZ is known as just a mod and an alpha, and it's free. So you can't hate on that because you're not paying your hard-earned money for a spike bat that you can't use.
Right, for
Right.
what this guy has done when he made this new game.
Don't sell me shit and tell me it's gold. Sell me shit and tell me shit.
Exactly.
What I'm getting.
So to get back on that, we are saying more or less that Warzy, go fuck yourself. DayZ, we're fine with.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the standalone.
Exactly.
Okay.
I like free shit. I don't like $50 shit.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
moving on to a happier subject, hopefully. In the comic world lately, we've had the release of the all-new XMen, which, Curran, I know you've had the joy of reading and starting. I think they're
Six
up to,
issues.
issue 6 just came out this past Wednesday.
I'm all caught up. Actually, that whole series is based off. It's following the AVX series, the Avengers versus X-Men series. I recently just finished that. Excellent buy, if anybody wants to pick that up. I know, Clay, I was telling you about it. After you get done with the comic, there's a bunch of individual battle issues that you collect. It's called the Infinite. Magneto versus Iron Man. That's boner right there. That's good shit. Clay, we had Hawkeye fan. Hawkeye
Yeah,
versus
Interested in that.
Angel. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it was Angel.
it's a good buy. So yeah, the new X-Men. It's a great the synopsis of it. After the fallout of the AVX, Beast goes back in time, gets the original X-Men, and brings them to the present, basically to get Scott Summers, Cyclops, to talk to himself, see what he's become, and how the original X-Men are dealing with being in the present time and seeing what's all the events that have happened. And that, for anybody who's a fan of the series, that's just it's good.
Magneto versus Iron Man. That's an interesting matchup.
That's a very interesting matchup. It set my mind racing.
Yeah, like I'm thinking about it, and I'm remembering in any like altercation between Magneto and Wolverine shouldn't stand that much of a chance. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm thinking like when Iron Man's flying at Magneto, he should just be able to pluck the air and just send Stark flying, like a bug. Like that's just, unless there's something I'm missing, he's got some new, he's Plastic Man, or some shit like that.
There should really be no match.
But it shouldn't be. He should just be crushed. He should be flattened and he should be in the ocean or wherever the hell they fought.
Well, maybe he's made out of aluminum. Maybe he's
Aluminum
non-magnetic.
Man.
Yeah, aluminum man. He's not magnetic.
Well, whatever. He should still be able to pluck his ass out of the air. 'Cause
Well,
he did
it's
that
exactly
shit in the
why
car.
you have to take it, get the comic, and make the read for yourself and see what happens. It's out
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Either way, it's still good. I'm always excited for like a good crossover. Seeing two characters fight that never seen each other before is always a good time.
Right. And there actually is a nice hardcover out there. Not that expensive. It collects every issue of AVX.
And you get the
Pick it
digital
up.
code for it as well to read it on your devices. And
Now,
I think I got it off Amazon. It was like $43. Not bad at all.
yeah, and I still want that.
Which is, it's really not bad for what you get.
Speaking of, while we're on comics, Walking Dead, what are they on 106 that just came out?
106.
Yeah, it's
7 can't get here soon enough.
What's that?
107 can't get here soon enough.
Oh man, I'm telling you,
The cliffhangers as of late at the end of those comics have been
they're just as
fucking
bad as the show. Like not bad. I'm not saying anything's bad about either one of those Walking Dead, the comic or the show.
Bad is good.
Just leave me wanting to claw my eyes out until the next time, Like Negan, who, if you don't read the comic, Negan is now the new, big boss enemy guy, like
He's
the
like-
governor was. And he finally got some kind of character development. You kind of saw into his life finally in 105. What the hell did he do? He has wives or something like that, like queens or some shit, and he burns people's faces, the ex-boyfriend's faces, if they look at him or some shit.
Yeah.
Like that's why you got that half Two-Face guy looking, guy walking around.
When they finally made that connection, because you saw the first guy earlier on with the side of his face burned. You didn't know how he got it. You figured it was just post-apocalyptic bullshit.
Right.
Seeing that's how that came about, that was a huge link there. That was just,
Yeah,
that was good.
I enjoyed that one big time. And then Negan, he's just like a ruthless guy. I mean, if anyone doesn't want to be spoiled in the comics, cover your earmuffs right now. But
Spoiler.
Negan's the guy that killed Glenn, and I'm talking like a brutal kill too. Like, was it nailed?
And out of nowhere, that was maybe one of the best deaths, I think, in the entire series so far.
What the hell? He calls it bat. His bat is named. Like, it's got a woman's name. Lucille. Like, he killed. You're looking at Glenn. And while I'm reading this in the book, I'm picturing Glenn on the TV show, with his eye hanging out, screaming Maggie, and that's just, like, heartbreaking for anybody that likes that character. Like, I was heartbroken when friggin' Dale died on the show. I felt the same when Glenn died in the comic book. So that's so far, Negan is just being built up to be like Satan himself. He's killed one of the main characters. He's stealing food and supplies from, Rick and the gang. And now he's got Carl, and he's got Carl taking his bandage off to show his eye socket. That shit's nasty.
When he made him sing the song, that was insane.
That dude's messed up.
All in all, he's making the governor look like a little bitch.
Yeah, the governor was bad, but this guy, it's like they're just going full-fledged baddie with this guy. Like the governor has his whole backstory with the rise of the governor, Road to Woodbury. Negan's just like, hey, nice to meet you. Now I'm going to kill you if you don't give me your, $2 or whatever.
And I am intrigued in the show where they're taking the governor, how you see his transformation to be like he really is effed in the head.
Yeah, he's just as bad as the governor, in the comic book.
Right.
It's
just taken a little while of development to get it there.
I'll tell you that he got off light, with his little tussle there with Michonne. He got off light compared to in the comic book because, he lost an eye, yes, but he lost a few other things in the comic book. And that was, I guess they couldn't show that.
There was a promotional poster that came out. It had the governor with the bandage on and the glass in his eye, and it said an eye for an eye.
Right.
Was the tagline. What do you think that means, that they're going with the whole hand thing?
The one thing I think I've always, the hand thing is huge. Like in the book, what was it like? Just a few pages after you meet the governor, it's like he cuts Rick's hand off. Like instantly.
Yeah.
Just because he wouldn't tell him where they were from. Now, while that would be shocking on the show, like things they every time something happens to anybody, a death, anything on the show, it's big, and it's big.
Herschel's
leg was insanity. Rick losing his hand. Rick's the main character on that show. Now I'm just talking from not a storyline, not storyline wise, but production wise. Rick not having his hand is like a big problem, because he's in almost every shot, So that's a lot of editing, a lot of CGI, a lot of whatever they would have to do to take Rick's hand and just have it not there.
Right.
Herschel's leg is one thing. They can show him hobbling around all day.
Right.
But that's just an eye for an eye. I mean, and the poster, like you were saying, it shows half of Rick's face, and it shows the governor's face with his little blood bandage on. They could be leading you, making you think like, okay, watch Rick while we're really going to shoot Carl in the eye like in the book,
Right.
Anything. I have my beliefs also that Laurie, who's already now dead in the show, is, she died on the way out of the prison, right, with a baby in her arm.
Right. She was running, with Billy.
I think that a baby just has no place in this world,
No.
Like, you're walking down the street and that thing cries for milk, you're dead. Like, that's no fun. That doesn't make for a good show. I think Carol...
You're no fun.
I think Carol's going to meet the same fate that Laurie did in the book. On the way out, after the big tussle at the prison with the governor, she's running out, and boom, she gets shot. Carol drops, baby drops, Rick goes effing insane.
Yeah.
That'd be good, too, because they just teased the whole Carol getting killed off inside the prison before the break.
Right.
So you bring everybody back from relief from that. Next thing you know, her and a baby dead.
Surprise.
I was surprised that Carol. Well, I don't know. Maybe we just haven't seen it yet, but they made a grave for Carol in the little courtyard thing that when they first got to the prison. They made a grave there for her.
Mm.
I thought that when she saw that grave, she'd be like, what the F? You just gave up on me that quick? Like, I think that she still hasn't seen it. We haven't seen her see the grave on the show, so we don't know yet. I just think that was it like a day later or something?
Yeah.
Like, they got a grave there. I'm like, hey, I'm down here sweating my ass off.
You
not
didn't even
eating
come
or
looking
drinking.
for me?
You didn't look?
Come
Yeah,
on.
he was, and if Daryl was ready to kill her, he knew she was in there, and he thought she was a walker, and he was about to kill her. They just gave up on her a little too quick.
Yeah.
I know a lot of viewers would just give up on her that quick too, because she doesn't really play a big part anyway.
Right. So when do they have the return of Walking Dead now on AMC?
February 10th.
February 10th.
And the best news came at the end of the last Talking Dead, when they said it's gonna, the Talking Dead, which was a half hour, is gonna now be an hour long. Thank God. And it's also following Walking Dead instantly instead of at 11 o'clock or whatever the hell it was.
Right, after...
Comic Book Men.
Yeah, after Comic Book Men.
Comic Book Man, I think, is moving to Thursdays. And, Walking Dead, or Talking Dead, is definitely... It needed to be an hour, because, you got, 3 or 4 commercial breaks, and they're talking so fast that you barely get anything out of it. So now they can take their time.
Right, it felt rushed.
So while we're still on the whole zombie thing, considering that that's been most of the show anyway, mostly about zombies, but never a bad thing. No, never a bad thing. Let's move on to one other video game that definitely has my eye, and that's going to be State of Decay.
Yeah.
And that is done by Undead Labs.
Yes.
Now this has been in the works for a while now.
This has been in the works for a very, very long time. Probably one of the longest games that I've ever even heard of that has been in the works. The way I came about this, or the way me and Clay came about this, is that like a year and a half, 2 years ago, Clay, that we were talking about this?
I can't even remember, to be honest with you.
He was just saying, Clay was just saying, what would be awesome would be like an open world MMO/zombie game. So, me and him were at work, and I just do a quick Google search. And what do you know? What pops up? It's Undead Labs, and it's Class 3. Class 3 was the code name for it before they actually came up with the real name. And so I've been following them since then. And the real cool thing is that I actually got to talk to one of the workers at Undead Labs, who was Emily Dial. I met her at PAX and all that stuff a couple years ago. Unfortunately, she doesn't work with them anymore, so I can't really get any more insight. So I have to go off of what I get on the Undead Labs website and all that. But this game literally looks unreal. I mean, it's coming out on Xbox Arcade, and they had a whole bunch of things that they were going to do with it. Okay, they said that it was going to be an open world zombie MMO. Well, it's kind of changed paths a little bit. There is going to be absolutely no multiplayer in State of Decay right now. And we were all like, what the hell? Because, me and Clay, we wanted to play this game together like anything as soon as it came out. Because this game looks absolutely amazing, like I said. So I think what they're doing with this is that they want to take the game, put it out as State of Decay. It's not going to be a beta. It's not going to be an alpha. It's not going to be a beta. It's going to be like in between a beta and an actual release, because they want to use State of Decay as a test purpose as well for Class 4, which is that's just the code name. They haven't released any names on it, but that's where they're saying that they're actually going to imply the whole multiplayer open world MMO thing.
Yeah,
now,
it seems like State of Decay is going to be the game, and then Class 4 or whatever they decide to call it's going to be the game with multiplayer.
Right, exactly. Now, we were talking about, God, we hope that this game doesn't end up like War Z.
Don't even.
I absolutely don't think it's going to go that way. They have done so much testing. We've been following, the trailers, all the different tactic videos that they're showing about and all that, and it shows, it's absolutely like amazing from what I see. It's a whole thing. It's not like Left 4 Dead or something like that. Just go run and gun. They have it where you set up your
base camp.
Yeah, like your base camp.
Strategic.
Okay? You get Survivor. You go and you help out survivors, bring it back to the base camp, and so on and so forth. You're using walkie-talkies and all that stuff because they figured, it's not good to obviously travel in a group and all that stuff. So, you're out there searching for stuff. People were getting hungry and whatnot. All right, so you go out to search for food and all that. You find the food. You got a whole bunch of zombies around you. What do you do? Do you go and you take them out? Maybe not. Maybe you let them go, mosey on somewhere else while you use your walkie-talkie to get helpers in there to get the food out of there. I mean, so it's not like it's like I said earlier, like a run and gun style game. This game's like exactly like Clay said, like strategic. And this is something that I've been wanting for a while. Clay's been wanting for a while. I'm pretty sure Matt and Kerm, you both have been wanting something like this for a very long time as well. And this game looks unreal. If you haven't, checked it out at all, if you haven't heard about it, do a search for it. State of Decay is the name of the game. The people that do it is Undead Labs. Follow them on on Twitter or whatnot, on Facebook. Check it out on their website. They constantly update and put out new trailers and all that stuff that they got going on. Like the latest one, I believe, was Tactics, and that was really cool.
Yeah,
the way
fireworks.
It's freaking. It looks to be a beautiful game. They do not have a release date for it yet, but they say that it's coming soon. From what I heard is that it was supposed to be in the first quarter of this year, so let's hope that they stick to it, unlike, Valve and all their, promises with stuff.
Valve time.
Yeah, good old Valve time.
Yeah, it's
about a year and a half.
Yeah, that's, before we get, I got the latest Game Informer, and I think I'm pretty sure it's in that book. I'm looking for it right now. But it's got, on the cover, it's got the Lego Marvel superheroes, which, real quick, I'm just going to say, like, that's something that I should get very excited for. The Marvel, it's got all the Hulk, it's talking about all these characters, Avengers, XMen, everybody. I can't get into these Lego games to save my life just because I can't, walking around as a Lego, beating up blocks, grabbing blocks, kicking blocks, assembling blocks and then breaking them. It's just not fun to me for some reason. I know, Matt, you took my Lego Batman 2 and had it for so long that I forgot that I owned it.
Yeah, and you know what? I wasn't playing it the whole time. I might have played it once or twice. Like, I couldn't get into it either.
Yeah, I played, what was the Lego Batman 1? I got, I don't even know how far into that. Not far at all. I don't know. But aside from that, in this Game Informer, it had it's like 5 games to look for in 2013, and State of Decay was the 5th one they talked about. And, I'm not going to pat myself on the back or, whatever, be snobby, but, I'm like, okay, finally this game is getting covered, in a major book. But it's like, you should be a game like this, especially with the DayZ, being so popular and Warzone being not so popular. This game should have been covered from, day one, because
right.
This is definitely a very, very outgoing title, because, from the very start, this Undead Labs has told you what they're aiming for. They have very high, they're aiming high with this game.
Right, and they've kept you updated on it the whole time, every step of the way.
And if you had to be lucky to, stumble across this game, we just kind of, oh, there it is,
right.
Play 3. And we're now, year 2 and we're still waiting on it. I'm just saying, based off what I've seen in this game and the time that's put into it, they've been, like I said, was it 2 years now they're working on it? I do not see this being a War Z copy.
No, and I'm sure they're aware of what's been going on with War Z.
Yes.
So they can't go that way and suffer the same fate.
Oh, they can't. Take your time and just make that game as good as I think it's going to be. Now, I want to talk about the newest Borderlands 2 DLC. What is it? Hammerlock's Big Game Hunt.
Yeah.
Before it came out, I read the review on IGN, and they gave it like a 6.9. And the first thing that popped in my head when I saw that was Pirate's Booty all over again, because I didn't enjoy Pirate's Booty at all.
I hated that DLC.
That thing just wasn't all that. Like I said before, that felt like a bastard, few levels that were just taken out of the game. But
right. And that's the only one that I played so far.
Yeah, that's the worst one to play. I mean, what was the second one? I can't even remember the damn second one now.
Mr. Torque's Campaign of Carnage.
Nah, that was the third one, I thought.
No.
Nah, it was the second one.
Yeah.
That one really made up for Pirate's Booty.
And that was a long gameplay, too.
That was. And it came with new guns, new currency, new, vending machines, enemies, all that.
Explosions.
Now this one comes out, and I read this review, and I'm like, damn it to hell. Now we got this another crappy ass friggin' DLC, and it comes out, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
It was a good DLC.
This more than Captain or Mr. Torque or whatever. I'm enjoying this a lot more, just because of the new enemies and what they can do. And earlier today, there's 2 raid bosses that come along with this DLC. And
one's a hidden one.
One is hidden, and we played him just a few hours ago as we speak.
Yep.
And this was like a war, a straight-up war to play this guy, just to get to this guy.
Yeah, it was a war to get to him, because after you spawn him, it was about 4 or 5 waves of enemies that we were just, oh my god. I mean, we sat there and we were fighting them alone for about a half hour before we even made it to the actual,
there was 4 of us.
Invincible
boss. Of us, and it still took us that long to get to it. There was the new enemies in this DLC. One of them is a witch doctor who just goes ape shit and just starts turning himself into Taz and spinning around in a tornado and shooting lasers at you. And he has the ability to level every enemy around him up to it's like a super badass.
And heal him as well.
He heals him, and he heals himself. So you got to stay on these guys, all while getting shot in the ass by other guys.
Oh! Don't forget about the flying tomatoes.
Flying tomatoes in this, and they laugh at you too. They laugh and they come down and they explode on your ass. You look up, you got like 3 of them floating around you, shitting on you, and they're annoying as hell. And they have the elements with them, corrosive and explosive and all that crud. So you got to put up with them.
Flying laughing tomatoes.
Like flying tomatoes are a novel concept, except for when I'm fighting a humongous spider. So we finally beat these waves of guys, witch doctors and what have yous. And what's this guy? I can't remember his name.
I can't pronounce any of them. They all have the
whatever. Fucking giant spider. This guy he's a giant. What are they called? The drifters.
Drifters.
It's a giant drifter. It's a humongous daddy long leg. And I'm talking, this guy's huge, like a small building. I think they said they compared it to. And while he wasn't a hard boss, it was tedious. Like
it was long.
We chipped away at his health. It seemed like half hour, 45 minutes maybe.
To be honest, I didn't even know what his health was, because there is a glitch in this part that only the host can actually see the health being, taken away.
Yeah,
so I'm shooting away, and I see him blinking, and I'm like, are we even doing any damage to him? And someone's like, oh yeah, he's about a quarter away gone. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It looks full to me, but I don't know. Other than that, this DLC was a good DLC between me and you, right, Clay?
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying the hell out. I like, for some reason, as boring as it may sound, I like just chilling in Hunter's Grotto, which is the main part where Hammerlock's little cottage is. I like just chilling in there and picking crap off with the sniper rifle. Yeah, and that's where you got to fight this big Vermidorbertus or whatever the hell his name is. You can just chill in the grotto and shoot him from there. I'm just getting a kick out of doing that. And there's there's the grassy knoll. I'm getting there's a million other friggin' places to go too, and there's another raid boss in there, and we haven't beaten that guy yet because he's just a little hard.
Well, maybe we'll get into him next week after, me and you finish him off and maybe, have some tips or anything like that on it. So,
yeah. No tips for the giant drifter. Just shoot him.
Yep.
Definitely the fastest 50 minutes of my life filling up that time.
Yeah.
But,
all right, so
see what we got there, and we'll catch you then on This Week in Geek. Say goodbye, guys.
See you later.
Adios.
Bye.